Well, hello, and thank you once again for taking the time to come and look at this demo video of Sage 100 Contractor. My name is Contractor with Cherry Bearcat, and today we're going to be going over the reporting features within Sage 100 Contractor. Now, Sage 100 Contractor, the backend or the solution itself, one of the strengths of the system is its reporting. There's roughly around 1,200 reports in Sage 100 Contractor. And today we're just going to go through a few of the reports. Not going to go through all of them. Don't want to bore you with time, but we're going to go through some of the most important reports, or some of the reports that a lot of our clients and a lot of contractors use when using Sage 100 Contractor. Okay. So here on my screen, I've kind of already set up my dashboard to have some of the reports, and I'll show you during this demo video how you can do the same thing with Sage 100. So that way you're not jumping through all the different reports, trying to search reports, find reports in all 1,200. So the first one we're going to kind of start off with the project management reports. And one of the main reports in the system is going to be the job status report, which is landscape, which is going to give us all the details behind all of our project. So I'm going to go out here and type in the project 186. We can run this report, as we found out in our first demo, about job types, and run a lot of our reports and job cost reports off a job type. But this particular report is known as the job status report. It's going to show me all of my original contract. It's going to show me all of my change orders that's to date that's been approved for this particular contract or this particular project. And as well as showing me the cost type, the original budget. There's the co-star of the show, the job being the star, the actual budget being the co-star. And then the actual revised budget if we've accumulated against any particular change orders. And as you can see here in this report, we can drill down again, and it will show me the changes that have happened in this particular report or this particular project as far as my budget changes, giving me my revised budget amount, as well as my period cost. So how much cost have I accumulated in this particular period? And meaning by period is this particular GL period before I close the month. And as well as the total cost, the overall cost of the actual project, giving us a percent complete and actually our projected cost to complete this particular project. And if I kind of go through, it shows me, brings it out by cost code, showing me all of my costs, showing me by my budget, and as well as giving me some totals here down at the bottom, exactly what we billed for this particular period, what we received in this particular period, our job to date bill, our job to date received, and our job to date due. Okay. Then we have what is called the summary. So exactly a summary of all of our cost types, material, labor, equipment, subcontract, and other, with our budget, our revised budget, our current cost in this particular period, our overall total cost, the percentage complete, and our projected cost. And down here in this report, it will give us exactly what our projected gross profit is going to be. Okay. So this is what is called the job status report. Another type of report that a lot of contractors like to use is what is called the job cost journal. Okay. So if I look at my job cost journal, which is going to show me my actual versus my budget by cost code. Again, there is this piece where I can go out here and run it by, I want to run it by project. And from preview this, it kind of show exactly what this report is going to give us the information. So we're not living in the ledger trying to figure out if this job is profitable or not and tracking our costs. So I have my cost code. It shows me what my original budget hours are and my budgeted amount. And then as I go through per cost code, it's going to list out all of the costs that has hit this particular cost code and the cost types that have come along with it, and then give me the actual total cost here by cost code at the bottom. And it tells me that I'm actually over budget on this particular cost code. So using this report, it would tell us exactly if we're under budget, over budget, or on task by cost code on that particular project. Another report is going to be coming down, which is, especially if we're self-performing and we're doing self-performing work, we want to make sure that we're actually looking at our hours, and we have hours actually in our original budget or our estimate. We want to make sure that we're looking and tracking those hours against the project. So if I come out, put my same project in, giving me some more information to see exactly where my actual hours are compared to my budget. So here I have original budget hours for this particular cost code. at 925 hours and 50.50. And then I see exactly what our type and what our total budget is. And if we can continue to go on, we can see it broken out by cost code, showing exactly where our total budget, any changes have happened against that budget, and our original hours. So this is a very vital report for those that are doing self-performing work. This report is also going to include all of the uncomputed payroll hours. So that's one thing about this report. So even if you have hours that are entered into the system and you have not processed payroll just yet, it will include those hours before the hours are processed. So giving you a little visibility into the project long before payroll is calculated. Then we have a couple of reports here: the job cost summary report, the job cost summary long report, and the job cost summary by phase. Each one of the reports tell a different piece of the story, tell the same story, but just a little version from a different viewpoint. So I'm gonna look at the job cost summary report first, and I'm gonna kind of run out here and show me anything. I can run it with some criteria if it's combined, or if I want to run budget over budget only, or if I want to just see a subtotal by the division. But in this case, I'm just going to kind of leave and run it open. What this report is going to give me is going to give me my budget, is going to give me my change orders, give me my revised budget, my cost to date, a percentage of where we are of that cost, or how much, as far as a percent wise, how much of the cost have we hit against the budget, and then give me the remaining balance. Okay. The job cost long report, which is also going to be number 31 right below it, is going to give me more detail, and it's going to break it out a little bit more on the actual by cost code, showing me exactly the cost code, the budget, the cost against that budget, and the remaining amount. And it's going to label it by cost type here at the top. So I have my labor. I'm able to see this is my original budget amount. Here's the cost that have accumulated against this particular cost code and this cost type, and our remaining balance. Okay. Now I can drill down anytime we're in the report where you see a magnifying glass with a plus sign. That means you can drill down in this report to the detail, and you can keep drilling down. So I can have a funny feeling and a sneaky suspicion that this is all going to be labor, as it should be, because this is all cost type number 2. So I can go down and see all of everyone that has hit this particular cost. Now, one thing about Sage 100 Contractor is if I drill down on this particular cost type as an example, yes, we may have paid the employee $200 in gross wages, but that's not really what the cost of the employee working to the project, because we have what is called labor burden. So we have the FUTA, we have the SUTA, we have the work comp, we may have union benefits. We have the Social Security employer and employee, or the employer Social Security. So all of that, what we call burden cost, that employer cost, needs to be added to the actual project. So in this case, we're actually $336.15 is actually the cost to the project, not what we paid the employee of $200. So giving us a true labor burden by hour of what is costing, because the last thing you want to do is kind of put $200 to the actual project and come out, find out we're losing money because we didn't actually account for the labor burden. Sage 100 Contractor, is one of the strengths of the system in the Sage systems, is being able to account for the labor burden at the project by an hour rate. So not only do we have the job cost summary report, but also we want to go in and look at the actual phases. So job cost summary by phases, especially if I have a project where we talked about in earlier demos, what is called a mini project inside of a larger project. So I can run what is called a project by phase. So this phase there's phase 0. There's nothing in that phase. Maybe some general requirements, but we have building 1. So I'm able to track down in building 1 to see my original budget, my changes, my revised budget, what cost has happened in that particular phase, and the balance. So as I get down, I can see my total, some phase 1. So building 1, this is what we budgeted for building 1. This is what we had change orders as far as costs in building 1. And this is our revised budget, our estimate, and the cost that's accumulated. For those contractors that really want to hone in their job cost by breaking out their larger project into smaller projects and being able to track the cost. So that's the job summary, job cost summary report, the job cost summary long report, which is breaking it down by cost code, by cost type, and giving us the original budget, the cost, and the remaining budget. Then we had our broken down by phases, so the mini projects inside of a larger project. The next one is going to be called the job cost billing summary report. And this report is going to tell us exactly where we are as far as our billings, and how one of favorite reports of a lot of contractors, because it gives us a lot of information. It says, what is our revised contract? So taking in the change orders, what have we billed to date against that particular phase code? And then what is the retention? And then what the net billings is, what the percentage of the bill budget plus changes, our cost to date, and our actual percentage complete, and then giving us our cash flow. Now this report, if you're going to use this report, it's important over in 3.7 progress bill, you got to be set up as cost codes. You can't be doing cost divisions. It's got to be set up at the cost code level, giving us the information from all the way from our revised contract amount to our revised budget to our cash flow to date based on the cost code. Okay. And that's our job billing summary report. We also have what is called job profitability. So how profitable are we on a particular project? So going out and running job 186 is kind of the same example. We're able to see exactly where we are as far as job profitability, showing me my total cost for this project. It can show me my cost percent of billing, our contract amount, if we have any service revenue. So for those of us that are actually doing contract work and service revenue, it will actually show us our service billing and our gross profit. Now you can run the same report. You don't have to run it by project. You can run it, as far as all the projects within the company, and they will show us everything, the same thing. So showing us all our projects, what our profitability is based on the project. And this is called the job profitability report. We also have, there's another report in the system, and these are just strictly project management reports. We'll get to the accounting reports down here at the bottom, but these are a lot of the project management report that contractors are using from a day-to-day basis. We have what is called the job cost total report. So I want to come out and look at my job cost totals by land. Anytime you see landscape in the system, that's going to give you more detail on the reports. Okay. So my job cost land report shows me all of my materials for a project, my labor for that project, what if I have any of my cost types, and my total cost that I've actually accumulated against that project. And again, I can drill down on the report. It would take me to all of the cost amounts that have happened against that particular project. Now, this is where accounting and project management kind of, the rubber meets the road, where they kind of meet. And that's going to be on the under and over billings report, also known as the WIP, which is known in construction, work in progress, manufacturing, work in process. These are what I was called our work in progress. And I have two different reports here that we're going to run, because the first one I'm going to run is going to give us the mathematics of how the work in progress is calculated. So if I come out, I'm going to print view this, run this for all my projects, and it's going to show me a formula up here up at the top showing me my cost divided by my budget. So it's showing me all the costs that have accumulated in the system, again, for the project, divided by the original budget, giving me a percent. Okay, give me more percent complete. Take that times the contract amount. That's what we've earned in revenue, minus what we billed, and it tells me if I'm over or I'm under billed. So really like this report, because this report is what taught me WIP, the basic of WIP, of construction WIP. Cost divided by the budget equals a percent. Take that times the contract amount equals our earned revenue minus what we've billed, gives us if we're over or under billed. Okay. Now, once we've kind of gone through the crawl method and we've kind of gotten our bearings and we walk, now let's stand up and run, which is going to be our extended version. So giving us a little bit more detail behind the actual WIP report, giving us actually our original contract amount, our estimated cost of completion, which is our estimated cost. Then we have what is called estimated gross profit, our percent complete, what we've billed, our cost, what we've accumulated in income, if we're over, underbilled, earned revenue, our cost of revenue, and then our gross profit. Cost of revenue, a very, very important feature, especially in construction accounting. Exactly how much did it cost us to make a certain amount of revenue? And that's basically kind of thinking about it is, is it worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? How much revenue or how much cost did we actually go through to accumulate a certain amount of revenue? Okay. And this is our extended over and under billings report, also known as our WIP report. Accounting uses this. They can make their WIP adjustments on a monthly basis as they're going through and looking at the various WIP reports. Also, for those contractors that are on other systems and they're looking to come out and get bonding, bonding is probably one of the most, especially if I'm doing public works, if I'm doing a lot of public or a lot of prevailing wage and I need bonding. Sage 100 Contractor has a bonding report, so I can come out and print my bonding report. My bonding report is going to tell me exactly my current contract, my current budget, my estimated profit, my cost to date, exactly my percentage of the budget, and then give me my gross profit to date, earned to date, billed to date, under or over billed, and then our cost to complete and what's remaining on the contract. So you can take this bonding report and you can hand it out to any banker or any bonding company, and this will be the bonding report for Sage 100 Contractor. Then we have what is called the committed cost reports and our purchase order and subcontract audit. As we jump into this, I've had many stories, especially those that are not able to track their committed cost. We finish a project, everything is done, no more laborers are out there. We've done the last payroll, and all of a sudden we look like we're 20% profitable on the project. Well, the next month comes along, we look like we go from 20% down to 15%. Month 2, we go from 15 down to 10, and we keep dropping more and more to 6 months down the road, we're like at 3%. And heard many contractors heard this story over and over again. The number one reason why is because not being able to track committed cost, because the purchase orders and subcontracts are coming in after, or the invoices for those POs and subcontracts are coming in after the project has been completed. Well, the trouble is, if I've finished the project and I said, wow, we're 15% profitable on this project, and we've made critical business decisions at that particular moment, but then 6 months down the road, we find out that we were not profitable on that particular project because all of the pay apps from the subcontractors and all the pay apps from the purchase order have come in the door. Now we're more 3% profitable or 5% profitable. Well, the problem is we just made critical business decisions based off of 15% profitability. And I've heard this story many times. The one thing that Sage 100 Contractor does, it allows us to see our profit, our committed cost before it ever happens, which is known as the committed cost report. Okay. So I got a historical job in here, but we're able to see our committed cost. This is expected cost. This is what we're expecting to come in as far as expected cost, but we haven't received any invoices yet. But as we receive invoices, this number will come down and our cost to date will go up. So we're able to see exactly what our committed costs are at any given time in the project. And we're not waiting, 3 months, 6 months down the road to see where we were profitability because the pay apps are coming in the door. This report will allow us to go out and see exactly what our committed costs are, what we're expecting to come in as costs that have not received invoices yet. And as we receive the invoices, this number will go down and this number over here will increase. And this is what is called the committed cost report, and ran by POs and subcontractors. Now, that tells one side of the story, but then we want to get down into the detail. And how do we look at the detail is by looking at the purchase order and subcontract audit reports. So if I want to look at my PO reports, I'm looking at my committed cost report, it's telling me the story that we still have expected costs coming in the door. Okay, what about the POs? What have we actually received of the POs? So in this case, I'm just going to run this one by this job. And I come out here and I select exactly what has been received on the PO. So I have, this PO number, this is what we ordered, and this is what we received. The variance is basically talking about the quantity times the price, giving me my extended, what I'm going to actually pay. And then I have my same thing over what's been received, and the variance is the actual amount. So the 900 minus the 200 gives me the $700. The 125 minus the 25 gives me the 100. And this is what we'll use to kind of compare and work with our committed cost report. This is for the purchase order side of it. But also we have what is called the subcontract audit report. This tells the whole story of what's happening with our subcontract, especially with that committed cost. I can run it by vendor, I can run it by cost division, I can run it by record number, but in this case, I'm just going to run it by job. And it will show me my subcontract. It shows me any change orders that happen against that subcontract, what invoices we've already received against that subcontract. So now I can jump down here and say, okay, here's our original subcontract, about $19,000. We don't have any approved change orders. We have this, so then there's no revised contract, subcontract, what we've invoiced to date, and what the remaining balance is for this particular subcontract, and any outstanding balance. So as you can see, we have it ran it for this particular job, for this particular subcontract, and this particular vendor, giving us all of the detail behind the committed cost reports. So as I'm running my committed cost report, I want to make sure that I'm running my purchase order audit and also running my subcontract audit, because they're kind of like the left hand and the right hand working together, telling the full story, giving us the full picture of what's happening with our committed cost. Now, those are just a few of the project management reports. There's a plethora of project management reports in the system, and everybody has their favorites. Some have tweaked some of the reports in the system. But now we're going to kind of shift gears and talk about the accounting reports a little bit. Okay. We have what is called our trial balance. Yes, Sage 100 has all the particular, the accounting reports. So if I want to come out and look at my cash accounts, my current assets, my WIP account, my liabilities, running what my beginning debit account is, my ending debit accounts are, and same vice versa. It will show me all of the detail behind that. So if I want to go down and look at my contract receivable, I can drill down in my actual trial balance and it will take me to the detail. And same thing, I can run what is called my balance sheet and my income statement. So here's my balance sheet. I run through my balance sheet. I can show my account numbers if I want to come out and see it, breaking out my balance sheet within the actual and showing me, of course, my company logo and everything sitting on the balance sheet. And it would just bring all of anything that is hitting the GL accounts. Okay. So bringing all my liabilities and all my liabilities that I have set up, my long-term liabilities, my equity, and going all the way down even to retained earnings. So the reason why a lot of times is I'm able to look at job reports and I'm not living in the ledger to tell me the story of what's happening in the projects. The actual ledger is designed for me to actually tell what's happening in the company. The job cost reports are actually designed to tell me what's happening in the project. Income statement, have two different type of income statements we're going to run. So if we're just one company, one entity, we want to see profit and loss based on a entity level, such as, company 1, company 2, or division 1, division 2, we can run what is called the income statement. In this case, I'm just running it as one entity. Okay. But if I have multiple entities in this company, actually this database I have what is called my departmentalized income statement. So I can go out and run it for, and as you'll see here, it's going to say California at the top for the California office, showing me my expenses, direct expenses, income. And then I have what is called my Nevada office. So I can run a combined P&L income statement, or I can separate them out if we're doing divisions or doing departments within Sage 100 Contractor. Of course, Sage 100 has what is called the statement of cash flows. So if I want to see exactly my statement of cash flows within the system, is saying exactly where, my cash flow from operating activities, my cash flows from investment activities, and my cash flows from finance activities. So I can run a statement of cash flows within the actual software. and run it between whatever period it is that I need to run that period. And of course, Sage has the agent reports. Now, since it is a job cost accounting software, I can run it by job, or I can just run my AR agent report just basically. And in this particular agent report, I have my current plus my retention. Of course, I have my 30, my 60, my net 90, and plus what's 120, okay, off my agent report and my invoices. But there are contractors, quite a few of them in fact, that want to run it by, I don't want the retention. I want the retention separate. So not only do I have an AR agent report, but I have what is called job period aging, where if I want to go out and run this actually by job and separate the retention out of the agent report. So I can actually have my retention in one column, what currents do, and then of course I have my 30, my 60, my 90, and then my 91 plus. So there are quite a few agent reports in the system that we are able to run based on what information you want to see. So like I said, we do have quite a few contractors that love to look at it and say, hey, I don't want to see the retention inside the agent because I know that's separate. We're going to build that at a separate date, especially when we're talking about bonding. AP, the AP side of the house. Yes, we do have an AP aging, and just like on the AR aging, AP aging has a very similar piece as well, where if I wanted to go out and see just everything that's out there as far as money and things that we owe to vendors. So we have our balance, we have our retention that we've held out, current, 30, 60, 90, and what we actually owe that's due, broken out by invoice. And again, you can come in and just drill down to this particular record and it'll take you to the actual invoice record. Okay. Now, one piece that we have is probably one of the most non-thought of features when it comes into construction, but yet a very, very important piece, especially on the AP side, is because the last thing we want to do is pay vendors and we have certificate of insurance that expired. So in this case, I put this out there on the menu to kind of show exactly what Sage will do. If you have vendors where their certificates of insurance is expired, Sage will come in and tell and say, hey, this vendor, your certificate of insurance expired and expired on these dates. Please give us yours. Mike, please update your certificate of insurance at your earliest convenience. That way we can get you in paid. A lot of times I found out when you don't pay a vendor and they be like, why haven't we got paid yet? Well, because we don't have valid certificate of insurance. They'll give that to you real quickly. So you could take this information, print it out, and it goes by vendor and it will tell us their certificate of insurance, what it is and what's expired. And they ask and requesting that the information be sent to the accounting department. Of course, Sage has what is called a check register. So we can go out and run our check register. I'm going to kind of run this a little open back to the beginning of the period, counting periods. And that way we can see a little bit more. It's showing me what my deposits are. Yes, of course, it's going to say put in the GL account number because you don't have everything as far as your cash account. So put in our GL account number and then running what our deposits, what our total deposits are, and then all the checks that have been cut against this in this particular GL account, in the cash account. And they kind of giving us our balance at the bottom, which then we use to work with our bank reconciliation. One of the last reports on this screen that I want to kind of talk about is because have a lot of contractors do certified work. So, and one of them is going out and being able to do the actual running a certified report. And I want to kind of show you exactly what Sage's certified report is. And yes, it does have the federal forms, and I can show you this here quickly after this. So it brings out my certified report, what payroll period we played in, what the wages were, what the trade was, what hours, what was paid, any vacation, pension, or health that goes along with it, and the employee wages, and any add-ons and deductions. So this is the true certified report created by within the Sage system. This is a CAN report. This is not nothing that we have to create or modify. This is already standard, come with the system. In fact, all the reports I've shown are standard CAN reports in the system. These are not modified reports. And as well as I wanted to look at my federal tax report. So my, not federal tax report, but I wanted to look at my federal prevailing wage or certified reports. So underneath payroll, under payroll reports, I have what is called the certified payroll form, which is going to bring on my DOL WH-347 report, which is my federal, what we call the Davis-Bacon Act report. Okay. Now this screen right here, all I did was I had to customize the screen, because you can customize the report screen to have any reports you want. Okay. This is what let's say the crawl method, because a lot of times you may want the reports at a certain time, you may want them delivered. So this is what I call the crawl method. There is a walk method behind every single one of these reports. The crawl method, putting them on the report screen, having them be there. You can go in, just open up the report, voila, there you go. Just print it off or print preview or send it to Excel, or even send it to PDF. And all reports can be exported to Excel. If you want to get in Excel and kind of manipulate the numbers, do some cutting and splicing, and do some VLOOKUPs and combine reports. But that is like I said, this is what is called the crawl method. Let's talk about the walking method. Crawl, walk, and run. The walk method is if I want to take this report and automatically have it printed. So I can have this report printed. I don't have to come in and print this report every single time. I can have this report printed daily at 5 a.m. and it will be on the printer every single day at 5 a.m. I can run it by week. So if I want it on Monday, I want it on Wednesday, I want it on Friday, hey, I even want it on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I can have this report and it will be at the printer every single time, because the system will go in. Nobody has to be in the system to go off and print it for us. The system will pick it up as an alert and go back in, and then it will print it, and it will be on the printer every single day. Have a lot of contractors that like this method. Well, that's the walk method. Let's talk about the run method. The run method is, let's save some trees and let's email that actual report. So instead of me actually having it on a printer, I can actually email and it will be in my inbox every day at 5 a.m. A lot of, especially on the accounting side of the house, love it from a agent report, a WIP report, AP AR aging. And then even on the project manager side of it, if you have a lot of PMs that are always in the field, and this is a way of saving on licenses, you don't want them necessarily being in the system just to look at reporting. This is a way to have them actually get the reports that they need to get critical information without them actually having to be in the system. So they can come out, especially on, the job cost summary reports. I could take that report, print it off. I simply put my email settings. I can actually tag who to send the email to. And I can send myself a copy and it will go through and email it directly to that particular individual. Okay. So that is setting up the reports on what is called a report schedule. All reports in Sage 100 Contractor can be scheduled. So you kind of have what is called the crawl method. You can come out and just print it and just view it, do whatever it is that you like. And that's basically what I did earlier, going through this actual demo. Or you can go through and do the walk method and just have it go to a printer. Some people like it on hard sheets. That's okay. Or you can do the run method and just say, you know what, bypass going in and trying to print it, bypass having it printed, bypass all of that and just have it directly emailed to the individual. And all the reports can be put on the schedule to be emailed. So thank you. I wanted to kind of just take some time to kind of go through some of the reports. And one thing that Sage does is, for instance, say you just want to go out here and find some information. So I want to say payroll. I want to find just some information on payroll, or better yet, let's call it hours. So if I want to look at hours, you can go out and search reports, and Sage will populate every single report with that keyword. Okay. Roughly, like I said in one of our demos, it's about 1,200 reports in the system. And the number one reason why our contractor has failed in the last 20 years, and there's been 83% of them here in the last 24 years, is because of failure to track the data, not being able to track data correctly. So even if I can't find the report, I can come always and search for a keyword in that report, and Sage will populate and give me kind of a preview of what that report looks like. Okay. Again, thank you for taking the time to watch this demo on some of the reporting features and the reports in Sage 100 Contractor. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, and we look forward to seeing you on another demo. Thank you.